Alright guys, now let's talk about this open redirection. Suppose there is a backend script in PHP and this header function redirects to the string specified in this argument. So if you say header of google.com, then the site redirects to google.com. So this is not a vulnerability. Of course it's a minor vulnerability, but when combined with XSS, so this the URL can be stored on the database in the XSS when there is a XSS vulnerability. So after that, whenever any user visits, then the script from the database will execute this redirection. So we are going to see this open redirection, and you can chain it with XSS or remote code execution to redirect the index.html to some other location. So generally this would result in the site defacing, where you can see this site was defaced by etc. You can see. So this is a open redirection. They will take advantage of this XSS stored XSS, and then they'll use this script. So now header of this location. So first we are going to for demonstration I have put this get function to get the value of URL variable. Then it will be append to the string location, and I will put the space, and then the page redirects to this location. So guys, this is the PHP script, and we cannot execute in the Windows because we do not have XAMPP server or any other PHP backend software. So that's why I'm going to open this metasploitable. I have already copied the code. You can see here ls. I am in var www, and if you say cat redirect.php, and you can see this code. So it's the same code, header of the location plus, and this one URL, the value of the URL variable. So guys, now let's go to this address /redirect.php. Now we did not get any output because there is no any echo statement. So what we want to do is we want to say question mark URL is equals to https, let's say google.com. So now if I hit enter, this page will be redirected to this google.com index page. Now guys, as you can see, the google.com has been displayed. Now let me go back. So in this way you can just simply use this header function. If you find any in the backend, if you identify this header function or any take in the input, then you can redirect this page to this any location you want. Generally the web developers use the URL encoding and base64 encoding. So let's see that also. So what I'm going to do is I want to say URL decode. So this is the backend code. On the front end, JavaScript encodes, or generally the browser encodes into the URL. So in the backend, the developers decode this this variable. Let's put another one. Okay, now it's perfect. Now let's save this. So what this URL decode function takes does is it will take the value and it will decode the URL and it will append to this location. So first we need to encode our URL in order to send in order to make the redirect successful. Let's type in Google URL encoding. So let's go to this URL encoder.org. Now paste in the whole URL you want to redirect to. Let's say google.com and click on encode. Now you will get this encoding format. So developers use this encoding format to avoid some special characters like greater than, less than, quotations, etc., spaces, etc. So all those characters will be converted to some special characters. So whenever server backend sees this, it will be converted into colon and // etc. So now I think we need to refresh this page. Yes, we have refreshed it. Now what I can do is I can say URL is equals to, instead of https google.com, I can simply paste this URL encoded data. As you guys can see, we can see still https and google.com, only some special characters have been modified. Now if I hit enter, we should redirect to google.com. So as you guys can see, we have successfully redirected. So another encoding I want to tell is that is base64 encoding. So we have already seen base64, but let's implement this in our PHP backend code. So instead of URL decode, I can say base64 underscore decode. Let's save this. So let's go to base64 encoding. So you can also do this in the burp. There is a encoding and decoding options in the burp suite, but you can use this online tools as well. If you are using Linux, there is a tool base64. You can just directly encrypt and also decrypt from the terminal itself. So this is the base64 encoded format of our google.com. Let's copy this and let's refresh this page to make sure that our recent PHP code has been included. And now let's say URL is equals to, let's paste this one. So this will be decoded into google.com and then it will be appended to location and it will redirect. Now as you guys can see, we have successfully redirected to google.com. So this is the basic way of open redirection. So the developers will encode 2 or 3 times for security purposes, like a combination of this URL and the base64 and base64 and URL, etc. So you need to identify how it's going to the server. So if you identify that, you can just identify the type of this encoding, and then you can just simply pass that encoded string. So that's all for this video about this open redirection. Though it's a minor vulnerability, you can chain it with XSS or remote code execution, and you can just simply redirect anyone to that your desired website.